Welcome to Spoiler Alert, where we talk about and subsequently spoil the shows you're obsessed with. This week we weigh in on Breaking Bad's series finale.
Cheer up, beautiful people.
As well as the returns of Grey's Anatomy and Once Upon a Time. And also we take a very early look at this fall's winners and losers so far. Welcome, Matt.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm well.
Breaking Bad finale. Ultimately, I felt like very satisfying hour of television, very satisfying finale to the series. Although I have to agree with some of the criticism that it all was tied up in a very neat bow, almost too neat.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically about the execution of Walt's master plan, and there were no hiccups.
No hiccups. In fact, he got a lot of help along the way, like the keys falling out of the visor above him. It's almost like the universe was looking out for him.
Just get me home. I'll do the rest.
I actually enjoyed the previous episode, the one, you know, that was set in New Hampshire with him in the cabin in the woods. I enjoyed that a little bit more just because it was just inherently more interesting. I always felt that Walt was going to die. We made our predictions in Spoiler Alert, you know, a week ago. I thought that he was going to take the rice, and I was wrong. I kind of liked how he gave it to Lydia, though. That was kind of clever. But yeah, it was just a little bit too neat. It was too tidy. There were no great surprises. I mean, there was the fun ingenuity of the machine gun thing that he set up. Or is this just because shows like Lost and Sopranos have done, you know, wacky things, and now we're just kind of prepped to wait for that wacky thing?
Maybe. It's like we're almost not used to getting everything we want out of a series finale. And essentially, at the end of the day, we did get pretty much everything we wanted, but was it too much of a good thing? How did Walt get into Skylar's house being undetected? Little things like that I felt like were a leap. At the same time, I was willing to take it because I felt ultimately like I was really happy that, you know, like Jesse got away.
That's what I was going to say. I was actually more invested in seeing what happened to Jesse at the end of the day.
Where do we think he went? Where was he speeding off to?
Anywhere.
And how far did he get? What probably really happened was he speeding away, and like, you know, right when the camera cut away, he got arrested or something.
Right, he gets pulled over for speeding and then ends up in jail anyway.
So happy about Landry getting murdered.
Yeah.
Ever since he killed that little boy, I was like, he so has it coming.
But that whole crew was just so vile.
Vile.
You pull that trigger, you never.
I did like the scene with Skylar, though, in the house. I thought that was really well done and very subtle. I'm glad they didn't have like a hugging scene.
I was good at it.
I loved the scene where Landry was meeting Lydia. By the way, I'm just going to call him Landry no matter what role he ever takes on. They're meeting in the diner, and then Walt just out of nowhere pulls up a chair.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
Before you say or do anything, just hear me out.
Lastly, final letter grade for the finale. What do you give it?
I'm just going to go with an A-. I just have to give it that minus just because as perfect as it was, just there was nothing that really made me say, wow.
Right. I'll give it an A- too. Let's move on to premieres. Last week, like 600 shows came back.
Or 75.
75. Split the difference, 300. Grey's Anatomy had a 2-hour episode. Okay, it was fine. I thought there were some good moments. I don't know that we needed 2 hours. I'm not a really big fan of the 2-hour episodes.
That's the thing with Grey's Anatomy's 2-hour episodes. They're a great hour and a half.
Yeah.
It did hit some great points with the Cali, Arizona big breakup. I like that Callie turned into a messy drunk and ended up crashing at Meredith and Derek's.
I don't know how excited I am at the prospect of them just fighting all season.
That is my child! Okay, so I can screw some whore on shore leave, but this is over the line.
I don't think they're going to be fighting. Shonda has promised this is a lighter, more fun season.
Yeah.
Sounds like the 200th episode is like very fun.
Very fun. It's going to be some kind of big gala. Everybody's all dressed up. And we went to the event this weekend, the 200th episode event, and Sandra Oh was telling us that there's I guess a new sort of development with
Christina and
Owen. You know, and I'm kind of figuring out and predicting where they're going to go with that relationship. And I can't envision any other way than the, you know, back to the push and pull, you know, every week.
Right.
I don't know how they get themselves out of that.
Then what? At the end of the day, she says, I can't take this anymore and I'm leaving town?
Or I can't take this anymore, I'm going to go run some errands, and I get flattened by a bus.
That's happened.
That has happened. That would be a nice callback.
Also in the 200th episode, Jessica Capshaw told us that there's a really good amount of comedy for Arizona. So that should be fun. I know that's something she's been wanting to get back to.
Yeah.
And I think that's also the episode where, I don't know if that's where Alex's father shows up, but he's definitely in it.
Your thoughts about Derek and Meredith? I kind of feel like I'm not sure what their story is this season, and everything I've heard, it's going to be about them raising 2 children. I don't know that I see the dramatic
conflict. Can a working wife and mom have it all?
Well, and I think that's a valid storyline, but in the Grey's universe, where everything is so heightened and there's such big stakes, I don't know how that can be anything but boring.
What about the little tell-all the interns had at the end there, where we learn little villains about each of them?
I knew you didn't make it in here on your own. You were such an evil cow. Whatever.
Although I still don't understand the Leah intern.
Maybe she's going to have a big twist. Maybe she's related to someone. Maybe.
I think she told us that she's got an interesting romance coming up.
Okay.
We shall see.
Once Upon a Time, back on Sunday.
I thought it got off to a really great start. All the stuff that was aboard the ship as they were on their way to Neverland was just really intense and thrilling. It was fun having all these characters together. The zingers kept flying. Regina had this great line.
That's more like it, Charmy. Belay the bitch.
You know, one of the things that we've had to sit on for so long is that this Robbie K kid is playing Peter Pan.
Right.
I'm so glad that's finally out.
I am Peter Pan.
He's just doing a great job. I've seen next week's episode.
Yes.
He has some great scenes with Jennifer Morrison where Peter Pan goes at it with Emma. Next week you get a Rufio shout out, you get an Excalibur mention. The only thing that Once Upon a Time fans are worried about is we're not seeing Storybrooke in the first 2 episodes. They're like, what's going on with Belle? What's going on with Rumpelstiltskin and Belle? And the fact is, you will see Belle in the 2nd episode, even though we're not going to Storybrooke. And Adam Horowitz assures me that Rumpelstiltskin's love for Belle, their whole relationship, that's going to become more and more and more important for Rumpelstiltskin as this Neverland story plays out.
Cool.
She's kind of like the light at the end of this dark, dark tunnel for him. It's really interesting.
And Once returned to depressed ratings compared to last year's premiere. I think maybe down 30% or so. Revenge did the same. I still felt like, given the competition on that night from cable, I thought those were pretty decent numbers.
Plus they were up from their finales, which ultimately, that's the number I kind of like to look at, is are more people showing up than last showed up?
Right.
And there were more.
Speaking of ratings, it's very early in the season, but let's go ahead and anoint some winners and losers. Among new shows, S.H.I.E.L.D, obviously huge success.
Yeah, it got like 17 million viewers, I think, and it's the best drama debut in 4 years for any network.
Obviously, there's going to be a drop-off, 15, 20% probably. But at what point does it plateau, and at what point, you know, is that number high enough to justify keeping the show going?
Right.
Because it's expensive. It's not a cheap show.
Big Bang Theory came back huge, which I totally predicted. I had a feeling that it was going to hit its largest audience ever.
And interesting timing with the contract negotiations. I mean, that cast could not be in a better place.
Kaylee, Johnny, and Jim back up the Brinks truck.
It helped Crazy Ones get a lot of solid sampling, and I think the number sustained itself throughout the half hour, so it wasn't like people bailed, right?
Right, yeah.
So that bodes well. Elsewhere, Hostages. Not so good. On a tough Monday night at 10 o'clock.
Blacklist opened so big.
Yeah.
Even so, Hostages opened a little bit lower than I expected.
Me too.
I don't know if it's got to build some word of mouth. I mean, episode 2 is a little bit more intense. You know, people start dying and stuff.
The problem with Hostages, though, it's serialized, so it's going to be tough for it to grow an audience, I think. 2
of the losers were no surprises. ABC's Betrayal, which made me so happy that basically nobody showed up to watch it.
And TV Line readers, I think, gave it like a C.
Yeah, C-. Lucky 7, which I never understood why that got greenlit in the first place. We've done lottery winner drama shows before.
Yeah.
Putting something so iffy like that at the end of an all-new ABC Tuesday night.
It's crazy.
Against Person of Interest, Chicago Fire, which at least has some buzz. I don't know if it's a sacrificial lamb, but...
So let's talk first cancellation of the season. I originally thought it was going to be Betrayal. Now I'm thinking Lucky 7 because it's on the same night as S.H.I.E.L.D. and ABC can't afford to squander that time slot.
Only question is, what does ABC bring off the bench then to fill that time slot? You know, do they rush a new season of Wipeout?
Killer Women.
They got Killer Women, which I always thought was going to end up on Thursdays or something, or that could even go on Sunday nights at 10.
Right.
So, you know, it's not like you have Private Practice or even Body Proof, you know, sitting on the sidelines anymore.
And first renewal, I'm thinking, or not renewal, first pickup, Sleepy Hollow.
I'm going with Blacklist.
Oh, interesting.
If it's not renewed by the time this video goes up, my prediction is Blacklist.
Yeah.
If it is renewed by the time this video goes up, I am brilliant.
NBC as a whole having a really good fall so far.
Yeah, year over
Voices
year,
are also back bigger
they're
than
up
ever.
in viewers and in the demo year over year, while everybody else is either maybe flat or definitely down.
Right.
But then again, that was the same story for NBC last fall, and then mid-season came, The Voice went away, and you know, things kind of fizzled. So it's the question, can they keep it going this time?
Before we go, I want to give 2 quick shout-outs to things that I loved on TV this past week. One of them, Lizzie Kaplan on Masters of Sex.
Totally.
I loved the show already, but she just, I don't know, she's just amazing.
Her character is the one that really has an evolution to go through.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of figure Masters is where he is, and he's going to be doing what he does. But her character is starting off so green, and she's going to have to just blossom over these years and over the course of her career. And Lizzie's just fantastic.
Why would a woman fake an orgasm?
To get a man to climax quickly?
I was just sitting there watching her going, wow, she's all grown up.
Usually so the woman can get back to whatever it is she'd rather be doing.
And the other one I want to give a shout out to is Robert King, who directed The Good Wife premiere. And I'm such a geek when it comes to little directing, you know, tricks and bells and whistles. And do you know what
I know what you're talking about. And I was looking out for it after you tweeted about this.
And the transition from the courtroom scene where we see the silhouette of Alicia's head.
Get on with Kalinda. We bought her another 48 hours.
It didn't even feel forced. It felt so organic. I didn't see it coming. And I felt like that whole opening teaser of The Good Wife's premiere, which was like 13 minutes long, felt like it was a piece of art. The way it was, you know, sort of choreographed, the music, you know, like the classical music, and the whole thing just felt beautiful.
That premiere as a whole was just fantastic.
Flawless.
That was one of my most favorite cases the show's ever done.
Really good.
I had no idea where it was going. I was waiting for the wrinkles and the twists, and are they going to win? Are they going to tragically lose? The only thing is I'm so anxious for Alicia now. Yeah. Because when she tells the partners...
Oh, forget it.
I hired you. I pushed for you.
Speaking of the partners' reactions, I spoke to Christine Baranski on the Emmy red carpet and asked her specifically how Diane will react when she finds out that Alicia's jumping ship. Let's watch it as the credits roll.
You'll have to tune in and watch my close-ups. My nostrils flare. You're gonna see some drama. It's gonna be an awesome season.
Hi, I'm Allison Brie.
And I'm Joel McHale.
And subscribe to ENT-TV.
It's just ENTV for all your entertainment news.
No, it's EENTV.
It's just ENTV, so whatever.
It's ENENTEVE. Unless it conflicts with anything, channel or company we work for. I'm Allison Brie.
Signing off.